perhaps we would have had a stronger connection with them or figured out ways to connect better if we had done a little bit more of that beforehand.
I think I heard you say that the infrastructure, setting up the infrastructure, has probably taken and is taking more time than you thought it would, or you
Yes,
had an,
yes.
okay, all right. I think that's an important point for us because it's one that we're looking at seriously. Okay,
And I think I would add to that that it's not easy to look at the implications, and I've seen this with different groups, and so I keep inviting people to let the differences come out, because it's better to talk about seeing things differently as we go along than to leave it and if you have people who feel like, if I'd only been heard, maybe we could have done this or that, but we didn't get a time to talk about that, or when I wanted to, we didn't. So I think the time that's put in up front, I have a friend who does facilitation, and she says, you know, pay me now or pay me later. And I think that's, you know, and while I think there are a lot of good things, and we had a wonderful, you know, wonderful chapter experience coming together last summer, I think that there are other things that we wish we might have been able to get into a more advanced state, so that it would have been easier on our leaders, and that maybe we didn't take enough time to elicit all of the thinking that might have pointed us to some things we might have done.
You know, there's so much we can learn from one another as I listen to this, and I was reminded of the two lines in Under the Tuscan Sun. I think they're at the end of the first chapter. We have time, we can talk. I'm not sure how much time we have, but we will be spending today talking. One last question, Mary Pat, and that is, what final wisdom would you want us to know, to share, or to search for together?
I think the essential question is, why are we doing it, and is this really the only way that we can do it? And the reason I'm saying that is because the questions that did come up to me in terms of structure, that I know you will be talking about, have to do with, I know right now you have your congregational leadership, and that you have your region in Mexico, and you have sisters in the United States. And I was trying to picture the new structure if you went the direction of Mexico becoming a province, and then if the United States became a province. And I guess I can't help but play with implications. It's just in my genes or something. But I was playing that out and seeing that it would seem to me that if the United States was to become a province, so that you had two provinces, there would be all kinds of changes, most of which would be experienced by your sisters in the United States, because you would be forming a province leadership, and you would have a congregational leadership that really has a different kind of a role than a province leadership. The congregational responsibilities in your congregation, and then the province ones, and so you might have more leaders. You might find a kind of a real shift in relationship with your congregational leadership. You know, so I think that I look at structure and I say, well, you know, what are the implications, and how is it going to affect me? You know, and since I did that, as we were talking about, even though I was in leadership. I knew I'd come back to California. I came back and my province was gone. And you play those things out, but then you live them. But I really had talked with some other people, and I realized intellectually, but when I began to really experience it, that I came back and I didn't have that province that I was sent from, in a way. So I'm just saying, I think my wisdom would be not to underestimate exploring, not just from the head but the heart. Whatever structures you put in front of yourself, allow people to be with, gee, what would that be for me? How would that affect me? And talk about that. And then, as well as, is this really what is really important to us? We must do this out of our values and our call.
Wow. I wish we had the whole day to talk about this, and I think I'm going to go back and see what we can do with this agenda that I have in front of me. Anyway, thanks so much, Mary Pat.
You're welcome. I hope it helps in some ways, and certainly I will be thinking about you and pray for you as you move into all this discernment together.
Well, we'll be in touch, and I have a feeling the congregation will be in touch also. So thank you very much, and I look forward to sharing with you the results of the day.
All right. All the best to you.